Is it time to refresh your communication skills?
Yes.
Invigorate your interpersonal and networking techniques?
Yes.
And genuinely connect better with others?
Yes.
In this engaging virtual session, you will discover skills applicable to any situation in your personal and professional life. We will explore the multiple channels of listening and how to authentically connect with each. You will be able to easily apply these proven techniques to public speaking, networking, leading, managing, sales and marketing, even parenting. Our speaker is CEO of Sparkle Presentations based in San Diego. An entrepreneurial spirit, Sheryl started her first of 8 businesses at the age of 16. Sheryl Roush has been an international presenter for over 30 years and with expertise in communication, in person, in public, in print, and online. A professional member of the National Speakers Association since 1990, Sheryl also received the Golden Microphone Award from the Los Angeles chapter and was selected Member of the Year from both Southern California chapters. She is a certified virtual presenter and one of Toastmasters' elite accredited speakers. A 17-time published author, she received the 2016 Author of Influence Award honored by the California State Legislature. With 45 years in marketing and graphic design, 30 years of speaking, and 25 years of coaching, she helps people speak and market like a pro. Sharing with us this morning how to establish authentic rapport with others with the 7 secrets to connect with anyone. Let's welcome to GGBC, Sheryl Roush.
Thank you so much, Tony. Hello, good morning, Golden Gate Breakfast Club. I love it. So cheers to you for getting up at this time and for continuing your tradition of your meetings. Even though it means virtually or walking around, getting out of the house and ending up on each other's porches to have a chat, continue to keep your legacy and your fellowship alive. It's my privilege to serve you, and we're taking a look at communication skills today. And Kaplan and O'Leary in their book, Power of Persuasion, wrote that no single skill relates to management or leadership more strongly than the ability to communicate. So listening to Reg and that he is recently retired, listening to our beautiful military service providers, to everything that we are doing, whether it be for our profession or our avocation, for our passion, for our purpose, for our calling, we need to be able to communicate more effectively. And Tony is again putting the link into the chat box for the handout, as we'll be coming up on that straight away. Toastmasters International, of which I've been an active member for 33 years, came out with a survey, and it's interesting regarding communication skills, that 43% of us would do anything that we could do to avoid spontaneous conversations. And of course, adding texting and our smart devices just really aggravates that as well. Yet the tips that I'm about to share with you have helped me to meet people where they are. And that's the main point of this session this morning, is to meet people where they are. I don't know about you, but it had been my longtime dream, having been raised on Star Trek in the household with my family, to someday be able to meet Mr. Leonard Nimoy. And I had the privilege of using these communication skills to talk to his agent, create rapport and trust. And I've actually worked with most of the Star Trek cast from the original series, Star Trek Next Generation, been on set during Enterprise, and yesterday celebrating 54 years on air. So I had the privilege of being asked to serve as the celebrity handler for Leonard Nimoy. He was a joy to work with and talk about communication skills. He was such a humble giant and supported all of the arts. Amazing. And for my fellow Toastmasters on the line, you might be interested to know that he was a member. He told me this himself as I was driving him one morning. He joined in 1954. So live long and prosper. And let's take a look at how you can use these skills. I've also been requested directly by Stan Lee to conduct his photo shoots. I realize we have a couple of photographers in GGBC, and Mimi as well as one of our guests today. And what an amazing man also to work with. So you never know how you're going to be able to apply your communication skills. Whether small talk is a lost art, I know Suzanne and Patricia, you'll be addressing this coming up for Northern California NSA. And boy, we just need to continue to communicate authentically, genuinely, to meet people where they are. So if you haven't yet downloaded the handout that is available for you in the Dropbox link that Tony has provided for you, here is the title page for the presentation. Feel free to reach out to me after this presentation. You can pop me a note and I'd love to hear from you. In the subject line, please put GGBC so that I know that it's you. Ken Blanchard, co-author of The 1 Minute Manager, said that the key to successful leadership today is influence, not authority. So the rules have changed regarding communication. We, again, need to establish genuine rapport and connection. And this applies to whether we're talking with our aging parents or raising teenagers in those trying years, you know, or even small kids, co-workers, or in virtual presentations. So the tips that I'm going to share with you relate across the board. So Craig, this is for you. How are you communicating? Is this the first dog, by the way? I know you have the first lady, which is your wife. Is this the first dog? Anyway.
This is Josie's dog.
I love it. And thank you. That was an adorable photo that I could use here. The research that I've done on this is spanning about 20 years, has been based on the work by Howard Gardner, PhD, and Thomas Armstrong, also a PhD in the field of using multiple intelligences, also referred to as the kinds of smart. So Frames of Mind by Howard Gardner and Thomas Armstrong's 7 Kinds of Smart. And what's interesting is that these gentlemen are both from early childhood education. So we know that when we raise children today and in schooling and right now in this virtual age of homeschooling, that we need to be using all of the multiple intelligences to help raise balanced communicators, starting with listening and then how we communicate orally with other people. And this is proven across, boy, over 3,500 presentations around the globe. And I've given virtual presentations since 2012. We go back to the way beginning, don't we, Patricia? So there are 7 groups of listeners. This is an overview of where we're going. And it'll be interesting to see how you identify with each of these listening groups. And it's interesting, in longer presentations, we actually take an assessment and you find out what are your strengths and where you might want to improve upon. So you'll be finding where are you in these particular groups by this and subsequent slides following up here. So in every audience, in every group of listeners, we are going to have these 7 types of listeners paying attention to the multiple intelligences. And what's interesting is that we have a tendency to communicate from our own preferred modalities or channels. I spoke to the American Mensa and they refer to this as well, those are channels. Yes, they are. So group number 1 is linguistic. Again, this is an overview and I'll give you more details. Linguistic people need to have verbal intelligence. The second group is mathematical or logical, and they're going to need facts and statistics and details. The third group are visual. We need to see it. So if you have a virtual background up behind you, chances are you're falling into this particular group today. Group number 4 is musical and rhythmic. There's a cadence or a beat, a chant, a tap, something that really keeps you going. It's your mental processing and how you file information in your brain as well. Group number 5 is kinesthetic. You need to be actively involved. That's why you would want to download the handout now so that you can take some notes. Group number 6 are interpersonal. You are people. You arrive on the GGBC even before the 7 o'clock login time because you want to chat with everyone. You want to see what's going on in their particular area, in their life. How are their spouses doing? I heard it this morning. You are highly interpersonal. And Barbara Streisand wrote your song, People Who Need People. That's your song. Group number 7, you're the intrapersonal. You're the thinkers. You're the introspective. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't like people. You may have a tendency to observe first before communicating. What we want to do as an overview to this is to be balanced and be able to shift between each of these 7 different listening groups, so that again, we can establish genuine rapport with anyone with whom we're speaking. So the tip here, meet people where they are. When we're talking one-on-one, we want to catch whatever their channel is, pick up on some keywords, and speak to what their intelligence is. To 2 or more people, then we want to make sure to hit all 7. So you'll see how this shows up. Here's the second page inside of the handout. And there's a couple of ways that I suggest using this. First of all, Steve, since you are speaking next week, hosted by Patricia Fripp, then you might want to go through your presentation and make sure that you have something from each of these 7 kinds of smarts in your presentation. Down the left side, you'll see that those are the modalities. It's kind of like a cheat sheet, but I encourage you to use this as a worksheet to prepare your presentations. Although this is my copyrighted original research, you may not use my handout in your actual presentation. So with that, then I know we have attorneys in GGBC, so thank you for thank you for helping that. Then what I would do is I would take like a pen or a yellow highlighter, and as you're going through your presentation, or it could be a debriefing or any type of training that you're doing, is to take that highlighting pen and go through the middle column to ensure that you have connected on each of those 7. As Tana Hope and I were working on her presentation here just, what was it, a couple months ago, maybe just within the past month, that we used this to make sure that she was embracing each of the 7 intelligences in her presentation for Golden Gate Breakfast Club. Then on the far right, I recommend writing down some notes, some specifics that you're thinking of that tie back into that modality. So there's numerous ways that you can use this for virtual live presentations and networking. So thanks, Suzanne. I'm sure that you address this in your presentation, and this is a great refresher to it. So use this to create your presentations or anything that you might be doing. And matter of fact, it also relates to marketing. So everything that I do is about speak and market like a pro. So now let's drill down a little bit. Let's do a deep dive on each of those 7 communication modalities. Group number 1 is linguistic, verbal. They need the stories, the discussions, the books, the brainstorming, the metaphors, analogies, acrostics, mnemonics, and you even know what the differences are between each of those. That's your superpower. You have great memory for trivia. You're quick learners of rhymes and foreign languages and different terminologies. When we want to connect with you, we need to pay attention to the words and semantics that we use. Is it potato? Is it potato? It depends on where you're raised. Is it the, matter of fact, you're also incredible grammar and proofreader checkers. If there's a typographical mistake in anything that the presenter has in tangible form, that's your power, that's your gift. You're going to be saying, hey, did you know that that particular word is misspelled? So it's semantics. You're the great storytellers too. You also love traditions. So as we have from Golden Gate Breakfast Club, many of the traditions of the club have survived over all of these years. And many of your members are still members today. And if you're looking at the chat box, there is a reminder to pay your dues. And we love these stanzas from our from Mr. President. Thank you so much. This beautiful poetry that you've created. I can hardly wait to hear what you write about this presentation next week. Let's see how you can use all 7, perhaps to communicate to get into heaven. There you go, Craig. So all of these are linguistic. You also appreciate reading resources. Marcus Buckingham, in my opinion, is one of the most brilliant, eloquent British speakers that I've heard when it deals with your strength finders. And everything about his book, he's a former senior VP of the Gallup organization. So to discover what is unique about each person and capitalize on it. His research is brilliant. And here are the three books that I recommend. I had the privilege of speaking at a conference with him in Calgary, Alberta, Canada a few years ago. These are all linguistic. So you might be thinking to yourself, yep, that's me. So you might want to make a note of which one of these 7 are you, and hopefully that you have some of each of the 7 to different degrees. And if you find that there's a weak area, consider taking some of the examples from the middle column of the worksheet and practicing them. Group number 2, now unlike group number 1 that was bullet pointed, looking at this particular slide, notice that they are numbered because this particular group needs the numbers, facts, statistics, and details. They look for patterns and relationships. They're great at analysis, creating budgets. Matter of fact, they're great for being treasurers of the Breakfast Club. So when you're presenting to this person and you identify that they're looking for the bottom line, just the facts, what are the statistics? Give them the numbers, any type of measurements, categories. So this is from another presentation that I do on creating a positive work environment, which also translates to coming back into the office and the workspace from being remote or virtual, or even in virtual situations as well. Now notice it grammatically, linguistics, I hear you, that the number 10 is a number and not T-E-N spelled out. That's a linguistic thing. In mathematics, and what helps our audiences understand exactly how many points is to put the numeral in the headline and then a numbered list instead. So again, feel free to capture screenshots of these, great information. All right, so then let's look at the third group, visual people. We need to see it. Patricia, thank you for being our model here. Thank you. Visual people love color. They probably express themselves in more color with our nonverbal gestures as well. We need to see it. Unlike the first two groups, linguistic, they can read it for themselves, leave them alone. Group number 2, give them the numbers, give it to them in order. Visual people, nope, we need to see it in color. Give us the charts, the symbols, the diagrams, the graphics. We have a tendency to dress in brighter colors too. We visualize, we need to see it in our mind's eye, and then we know it can be done. Here are our new virtual backgrounds. We need to see it. We need to see it. Beautiful, from the cable cars to the bird's eye view to downtown to the bridge itself, with the 5th virtual background even behind it in the background. So all of your visuals, that's a visual. So if you're going, oh, cool, Sheryl, Craig, yeah, thank you. This is for you. So visual people, we need to see it. That was group number 3. Now, group number 4 is musical or rhythmic. This one you might be thinking, well, how does that relate in communicating? With our rate, our pitch, our volume, our intonation, what's our pacing? Do we pause with purpose? Do we click along as we're discussing whatever the topic is? We also have one of our superpowers is that we link tunes to concepts and what our memories are. So it's fabulous because then, say for instance, well, I had the privilege of opening both for Olivia Newton-John, and I sang that day and she didn't, a huge conference, and Marie, matter of fact, Marie Osmond. It was a delight to open for her as well. And I do a little bit of singing when I do keynote presentations. So what I did was a little bit of Carole King. Do you remember her? From the Tapestry album? Do you remember albums? Okay, so from that, then I might sing a little ditty as it relates to the concept that I'm teaching about having a sparkling attitude. The song is You're So Beautiful. It goes something like this. You've got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world how the love in your heart. People gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, you're as beautiful as you feel. Anyway, tougher when you're virtual and sitting down. You get the idea. So then I would link that to how we wake up in the morning determines the pace for the rest of our day. So we need to be embracing that, finding the joy, you know, and there's a song I was listening to yesterday. You gotta make your own sunshine. So now linking a tune to a concept. Another way to do that is with poetry, rap, rhyme, the cadence with which we speak. And this is how we can connect with the musical group as well. So that's group number 4. Group number 5 is kinesthetic. They learn best by doing hands-on physical activities, any type of demonstrations, simulations. So again, you're hands-on. That's why too, when you receive a handout, then you definitely want to be able to take some notes on it. That's your gift. You love any type of movement and touch. Tana Hope, thank you very much, our Hope Ambassador for Perfect Posture. So thank you for your presentation here at Golden Gate. And not only did you use the linguistics in educating us on what words were, you also took us through exercises. And thank you for your message, because I still apply what you showed us before. All of these activities, all of those are kinesthetic. So anything that you can do to help get people to move. Number 6, interpersonal. You're people, you need the interaction. When I was listening to your introductions earlier about how much you sincerely miss the breakfast meetings, I get it. You're interpersonal. Chances are you're also linguistic, visual, and kinesthetic, because kinesthetic, you're the huggers. Handshake is fine, but nope, you're really going in there for the hug. So interpersonal, you're people. That's where you shine. Group number 7 is the interpersonal, or the introspective. They need the information to be self-paced. So if you are linguistic number 1 and number 7 intrapersonal, just give you what needs to be read in black and white is fine. And that if you have any questions, you are the thinker. You will come back and you will ask very important questions that need to be addressed. That's your gift, is the thinking process. We need to balance this. And here's what I know for an intrapersonal is that when you say, let me think about it, and this relates to the sales and prospecting areas as well, is when they say, let me think about it, give them space to think about it. Then after they've made a sound decision, they will come back with that information for you. So that's our introspective. It doesn't mean that you don't like people. It means that you do need your downtime. And I think that this is where we go and we rekindle our spirit, rejuvenate our energy, and then we're refreshed to come back out. Because here's what I notice is that if we were to take a survey between groups number 6 and 7, typically people are between 1 point or the same point of column 6 and 7, which is how we keep our balance in order to do what it is that we do. So looking at this list, hopefully even in this virtual presentation, that you've been able to identify what your preferred communication modalities are. If you also identified, oh, I could strengthen up in that particular area, or I might be missing that channel in my upcoming presentation, then this affords you an opportunity to do some updating on it. Stephen Covey, from his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Again, I say meet people where they are. Using this worksheet for every presentation that you have coming up, or even communicating with your loved ones, or whatever that might be, this will help you ensure that you're connecting with 100% of your listeners. And the tips again are one-on-one, communicate on their channels. In a group, incorporate each of the modalities, because we are comprised of many of the channels simultaneously, and we want sincere, genuine communication. If you'd like more information on any of the modalities, or if you'd like the audio cassette, which is loaded with, I believe it's 18 different full-length programs and all of their handouts, the workbook that I created actually for the Chamber of Commerce originally, and it's a speaking guidebook. It's about 48 pages long, including the 26 different type of openers and closers, as well as the 7 multiple intelligences, all around the 7 simple steps to business presentations. So with that, here's what we've looked at. How are we currently communicating? How can we communicate more effectively, and to hit each of the 7 modalities in communication throughout any type of presentation that we do? So with that, let's stop sharing and then go into Q&A. It's been my privilege to bring you this information, Golden Gate Breakfast Club. Thank you.
Thanks, Sheryl.
Thank you.
So you can give a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Now you get the sound going here. because we're audio. We like to have sound. Hey,
What questions can I answer?
I think it's great. Why don't we, we've got 40 people here on the call. So we have a couple. Tony, do we have that raise hand feature going, or do we have to use the chat? What's the best method on this one?
They can raise their hand visually.
Okay.
And I don't see a raise hand function. But
Well, Patricia has 2 of them up. Does that
Yeah,
count?
I think we should let's go right to Patricia first.
Well, one, congratulations. You not only modeled the perfect way to deliver a presentation virtually or in person, your amount of customization was spectacular. I mean, really, hands up, 10 out of 10. What I would like you to share with the group is a specific example of a virtual presentation. If you had a situation where everything went wrong, not your preparation or you, but we all know we go to clients' meetings, maybe they haven't mastered the technology. So have you got experience when you were fine, you were prepared, but the rest of the meeting wasn't? And how you recovered?
Thank you. I appreciate that, Patricia. So clearly you've had that kind of example too. It happened recently where everything was ready. Everything was ready. At the last minute in the emails that are sent out, the meeting planner changed the Zoom link.
Oh.
And then, so people were in 2 different Zoom rooms at the same time. Yet they forgot to inform the speaker of which one actually to be using. The passwords were off, all of that. In a case like that, we remain calm, cool, collected. As I'm processing through, doing whatever I can do to get into the same place where all the people are, then I just kept talking calmly to them, encouraged them to go ahead and get the handouts ready. And then as it all came back together, it's like, okay. And then I was able to deliver the full content of the presentation and we're talking, it was probably 15 to 17 minutes off, Patricia, which we know every minute matters. Everyone stayed for the entire thing, and I ended on time regardless of that. As professionals, we are hired to deliver a message to the greatest of our ability. We cannot let the technology get in our way, but doggone it, plan for backups. This one was almost out of my control because not being provided the proper links. Meanwhile, I have 2 different monitors set up. I have 2 full laptops, everything. Plus I have potentially 6 camera shoots. So all of the technology, hotspot, backup technology, got to be prepared as much as we can on our side. And then if it needed to, it could have been rescheduled if it needed to. And it was interesting because one of my brand new clients was on the line and she said, I learned more about how you handled that situation. So again, with calm and decorum. Thanks, Patricia. Craig, you're muted. I see your mouth moving. Okay.
I said, stay strong and carry on. That's what I was referring to. More questions. Oh, by the way, I have to toggle between 2 screens to see everybody. So if you raise your hand, just keep it up and I'll get to you.
That's great that it's a 2-gallery meeting, hey.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Sheryl, I got a question for you. No, and I think this is a good one for all of us. So I did print your worksheet, so thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
I was taking notes. And so, but the funny thing was, I'm going through this with you. I'm like going, oh yeah, I'm very linguistic. Yeah, that's me all the way. And then we get down to not so much mathematical, but visual. Oh yeah, and then I just kept going down. And of course, they made the note about those are the kinds of people that take notes in in this. And I do that. And so, but it's just so interesting. All these, I think we are all these are like parts of all of us.
Yes.
And And so I guess it's a two-step question. One is, can you address that? And also, how would you classify yourself? Because you're a public speaker in Toastmasters, but that doesn't come naturally to most people. And a lot of Toastmasters I know, they join Toastmasters because they're just scared to death of speaking to people.
This is true, or they want a safe place in order to polish up their skills. Remember too, that being a professional speaker for over 33 years, people pay me to do what it is that I do. So your first question, yes, we are a mix of all 7 of them. We might have a sleeping talent there that we're not really awakening. We may have an area where maybe it's not our strength. So for instance, in your second question, which one of these am I? When I first started doing this research, then I realized I had a 0 on mathematics and logic. And it was interesting because in my presentations, I realized my weakness was that I wasn't having numbers. So now I make sure to have numbers. Now I'm a CEO of a California S corporation. I have a CPA, I have a QuickBooks Pro, I have my investment guy, I have all of that. I have real estate agents, I have all of that. Their job is to provide me the numbers and make it look pretty. So I want colorful charts. It's like, okay, give me the numbers, but I need to see it, in something that looks fun. So for instance, I'm highly linguistic. When even today in virtual presentations, or when I was traveling around the globe, I would full day seminars in 8 countries, 120 full day seminars, including at UC Berkeley. I created curriculum, by the way, on developing marketing materials for the extension over there, that I would open in whatever their languages were. So in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, addressing deans, professors, and lecturers at the Institute Technology Mara, which is their largest professional institute there, then my entire opening was in their official language of Bahasa Malay. And I can still speak some Malay. So it's like, I'm very linguistic. I learned, Spanish in 6th grade, German in high school, and picking up different languages, some Tagalog along the way, so I believe that when we can meet people where they are, that we are showing the greatest sign of respect. And what better way to do it than in their language? Matter of fact, Patricia, Craig Valentine, and Ed Tate both interviewed me regarding how do you bridge that cultural gap. And that's what I would say is learn some of the language and definitely be respectful of the cultures. So I am linguistic, very visual, by the way. And musical, I need to find ways to bring it in. So for me, it's not only the cadence with which I speak, but then doing a little song, not infringing on copyrights or royalties there. Kinesthetic and activities, there's different ways that I bring that into my presentations as well. And it might surprise you that I'm actually an introvert. So being on purpose for serving people with hope and messages of how can they speak and market better to promote whatever it is that their cause is, then I need to balance, because being an introvert helps me to create the curriculum, and being intuitive helps me tap into what people truly need, even if they don't even know what it is. Then be an ambivert, bringing it out into the world to help serve other people. I see the value, great value of being introspective. And I think that as service providers, whatever it is that we are offering today, that we need to tap in and see, is this authentically aligned with who I am and what I'm bringing to the planet? Because everything that we're doing right now, the world desperately needs. Desperately needs whatever it is that we're doing. So I'm finding ways to balance it, and to help boost my mathematics, then I'm doing apps on the phone to help do that. It's a conscious effort. And I could say, on a scale from 0 to 4 in mathematics, I'm now probably a 2.5, 2.75, maybe a 3.0. You like how I use those math? So anyway, I'm doing better, making a conscious effort. And we want to be able, each of us want to be able to use all 7 and to pay attention to how a person is communicating with us, pick up on the cues, and then be able to paraphrase, pick up keywords, meet them where they are, and continue the conversation. People give us the clues of how to communicate with them when we're present.
Wow. That last statement's like golden. If you get one thing out of this, that's the total that's like the golden rule right there. Other questions? Well, Patricia, I see your hand.
Anne Mahoney is waving. So Anne,
Oh,
Hi,
I've
Ann.
already-
I'll
Hi.
wave back. Hi, Ann.
I just have a question, and I could be way off base here, but when you're doing your presentation, when you get to the visual part, why wouldn't you present that in like a short 1-minute video? And when you get to the musical part, maybe you would rap whatever those facts are or sing whatever those facts are. And then when you get to the introspective or the introspective person, why on your chart wouldn't you have blanks that they would fill in? And then when you say to people, if you're not sure which modem you are, as you leave here today, there will be something that resonated that you're going to remember tonight. And it might be the rap, it might be the video, it might, but I'm just wondering why.
Those are great ideas, Ann. Do you rap?
No,
Oh,
but I love music, and I would,
gifts.
and if you had an earworm, whatever those facts were that you were trying to put into an earworm, some people wouldn't remember the melody at all. Other people, that would stick with them. So I would think if you're trying to speak to them in their language, it's just a thought.
Those are great ideas. Whatever works for you. And that's what this is about, is whatever works for you. So nice music. Thank you.
I didn't do that.
Wait, it was good timing though. It was a good cue up. All of those are ways is how can you, in your uniqueness, utilize and connect with each of the 7 groups? And those were brilliant ideas. They're not something currently that I use, although I do see other speakers use them quite effectively. So yes, those are great ideas. It could be at the very end that you go to menti.com and you create a word cloud of all of the ideas that come forth out of the group, and then they actually log in and they bring it up on the screen and they create their own custom word cloud. You can even do wheelofnames.com where you're giving things away and each attendee's names go into that, especially in virtual presentations. Maybe it's for hot seat coaching. And then the wheel goes around and then poof, it lands on somebody who's like, okay, and there's your winner. So now you've got linguistic, you've got visual, kinesthetic, and that you've got the music of the wheel going around because it's based on Wheel of Fortune. So there's so many things that you can bring into. My word of caution is making sure that if you're pulling something off of the internet, that you have rights to use it and that it's not copyright infringement. So for instance, when I sing, it's just a little clip, a cappella, very short, no copyright infringements. I don't sing any more than what you heard, sometimes even less. So we want to be mindful of the original talent. But the attorneys could address that. Thanks, Ann. Those were brilliant ideas. Thank you.
Sheryl, could you give us a couple of marketing ideas based on your concepts?
Absolutely. Thank you. All 7 of these modalities go into marketing. They're perfectly paralleled. So when you are writing your marketing copy, and keep in mind my background is graphic design for 40, we'll just say 45 plus years. we'll just, thanks, Suzanne. Susan, I see you laughing with me. Thank you. Okay, so for instance, linguistics, if there are any typographical mistakes in your marketing material, you've lost all credibility. Mathematics need to know, well, how many of this do I get? And regarding the benefits, not necessarily the features. However, in the features, it would be 4 tires with something type of hubs, sunroof, moonroof, whatever that it might be. So how many of whatever. There are 3 steps in using this particular concept. Or when Tana was showing us her activities, the exercises, there are 7 easy ways to perfect your posture. And I still love it when she's, pull your chin back. I love that. So visual people, over 85% of buyers are visual. So for those who are real estate professionals, show us what the property looks like now. If you're in construction, show us the before and the afters. Give us an idea of what it looks like. If it's in weight loss or wellness, Tony, you're a walking poster child from all the weight that you've lost and how you've trimmed up, and absolutely stunning. Oh my gosh. And to see your entire journey of that, you're a walking testament to what you did. Oh, let's see. Musical could be, oh, maybe there's something, it's like, if you've ever thought of California Dreamin', now's the time, and then you could throw some lyrics to the song in there. So you can create some rapport that particular way. Or I wish they all could be California residents, da 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 da. So anyway, you know, bringing people into our golden state, as you will. Kinesthetic, in marketing, it could be the slick paper that feels good to the touch. On a book cover, it's the suede type of cover that people are really glimmering for. On your business cards, if you're not showing your photo, by the way, and if you're not using both sides of the business card, you're missing out on using prime real estate. And people want to know, who are they going to be doing business with? And the photo cards are kept much longer, years and decades later, than cards that do not have photographs on them. So kinesthetic, then again, tapping into the senses. Or you can use that linguistically, where if dealing with shoddy vendors leaves a bad taste in your mouth, there's linguistic kinesthetic, it's tapping into the senses. Interpersonal, then you can do this with photos, have more people into the photos enjoying what it is that you're selling or promoting. Or introspective could be, think about this, but only for 24 hours. And then it's like, okay, and not if, when you're ready, call me. So that's, Patricia, how that could relate directly to marketing. I love being able to give people specifics. So if you'd like a free mentoring session with me for 15 to 20 minutes, go to speakandmarketlikeapro.com. Go to the coaching tab, scroll down, and there's a big red button. There's your kinesthetic visual. Click the red button, and it takes you into a form. It would be my honor to give you personalized feedback on your particular topic, your questions on that. Be happy to. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you.
Betty, were you raising your hand?
Hi, Betty.
Hi, how are you?
Great. I saw you on Tana's course too. So it's good to see you again.
Yes, thank you. I didn't yet, Craig, but I was going to. First of all, I wanted to compliment you, Sheryl. Similar to what Patricia said, that this was one of the best presentations because you really spent time preparing. Number one, your content was phenomenal. You delivered it beautifully. But I think you interrelated it so well with the club and with the photos and the content. It was just brilliant. So I wanted to thank you on that and compliment you. What I wanted, you just went through the marketing ideas. And how does one, when, you know, Craig and I are both in the real estate profession, and you want to do it all, but you can't, how do you get all of those into one postcard or one I guess your website? How do you put it all together? Because we're reaching out to so many people that different styles.
Thank you. Here's the best overall concept. Develop the marketing for that particular market. Begin with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey says. I believe begin with who is the recipient of that postcard. What's the demographic, geographic, psychographic? Who are they? Create an avatar of your potential buyer. So for instance, in real estate, who is your ideal buyer? And customize, tailor everything to that. If you have two different markets, if you do residential and you do commercial, those are two different postcards. The languaging, the messaging needs to change to connect with the person, with the buyer. Everything needs to be tailored to them. Speak their language. So for instance, in this presentation, we started off with 3 questions that name potential pains that you all might be thinking. And that's exactly what we addressed, that this presentation are solutions to those particular challenges. Do your homework. You know, biggest mistake I've ever made in a presentation was that I did not do enough research. And that only happened once. It will never happen again.
Well,
great questions.
Thank you.
Great questions. So again, you know, the media doesn't matter. It's who are you wanting to attract to your particular business, your service, and in this particular case, real estate, because you're not selling property, you're selling dreams.
Right.
There's a difference.
And lifestyle.
And lifestyle. Well, the lifestyle is part of the dream.
Thank you.
All the best to you too, Betty.
Thank you.
Everything you said, Cheryl, was just so spot on. I mean, with real estate, we are in the public eye all the time, and we're constantly dealing with different personalities, and we have to adapt, to that personality style and be true to ourselves and also be authentic. And so I think what you had to say today resonated so well with our business. But I know a number of us also, I mean, we're all salespeople in our own way and whatever we're doing. And so, everything was so applicable. What other questions do we have this morning? Go ahead and speak up if anyone has something in mind.
Patricia?
Well, Jim Prost is on.
Yes.
And Jim, I know you agree. Cheryl's visual presentation was fabulous. I know you helped me with all my PowerPoints. Do you have any specific questions about her visuals?
No.
Okay.
As a recovering perfectionist, I saw two things that when I transferred from one MacBook Pro to the other, that it made a couple of graphic glitches. Of course, as a speaker, I would not draw your attention to them. So Jim may have been going, yes, I do, and no, I'm not saying anything. Thank you, Jim.
That happens.
Jim and I go way back, way back. I think we originally spoke for NSA Northern California together over a decade ago, probably 15 years ago. Yeah. I cherish you, Jim. Good to see you again.
Just as a sideline, because we have a few people from the National Speakers Association, Northern California, not only are Susan and I speaking on Saturday, it is also our 40th anniversary. Bert Decker and I founded the chapter 40 years ago. And on our 15th anniversary, Bert Decker, Jim Prost, Ken Braley, another who you would know, big in Toastmasters and NSA, they, at our 15th celebration, I got out of a cake in a custom-made Wonder Woman costume. Getting out was a challenge. You did need at least 3 men to pull you out. Getting in and staying in is even harder, and it gives me a great appreciation of women who work bachelor parties.
Yeah, who actually do that. So Patricia, I'm sure you could have requested 4 men, but anyway. How beautiful. How fun that is, because the experience that you created. Happy 40th anniversary. That is remarkable. So thank you. We have Gary and Chuck here as well. So yes, that's remarkable. And Tony, NSA as well. Good.
Well, if nobody else is asking a question, I'll ask one more. Craig, has anyone else got their hand up that I can't see?
Well, and I wondered if Mimi, hello, as a guest, would you like to ask a question? Let's get you unmuted here. Whoops.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Hi, Mimi. Welcome.
Muted.
Oh, you muted.
Hey, Mimi, you're muted.
It's going back and forth. Sorry. Mimi, go ahead and unmute.
There we go.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. Yes, I had a clothing store for 26 years, and a lot of this came into play because you had to listen to how to get people to try something new, that kind of thing. I wish I'd had your course a long time ago, but I can certainly relate to this. And even today, when you have people of so many different persuasions, politically or any other way, to find out how to approach them from these particular ways, I think is invaluable. Mm-hmm. To break that ice, to get through, to get to a common ground where you can actually discuss something.
Mm-hmm. Or navigate away if you don't want to engage.
True. Either way. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
I think the question I would ask is, how many of these areas do you think, I mean, obviously we're all part of all of them, but do you think how many do you think you really have to relate to catch someone? 1, 3, 4 of these various
And people may not even know that that's what their channel is. They just know, and it could be from how they were raised or whatever kind of conditions that if they were raised by engineers, perhaps they might be more mathematically inclined or more linguistic or even introspective. So for instance, my father, highly kinesthetic, introspective, linguistic, mathematical. He was a design engineer for military aircraft. Very good at what he did. But when it came to remembering people's names, nope, that was mom's gift. So mom, highly linguistic, not mathematical, very visual, off the charts interpersonal, and musical. She was always in the church choir, could not hold a note. So so keep in mind that we are each of these. We want to be as balanced as we can be. That's the tip, is to be balanced. I think that we do need to be able to navigate between the 7 multiple intelligences to truly have authentic communication. Linguistic would be regarding language. And when all else fails, music is a universal language, and non-verbally, so are smiles.
Very good.
That's great. Well, I think with that, Sheryl, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And we'll stick around for a few more minutes if anyone else has any further questions. But let's just give Sheryl a firm appreciation and applause. And Steve, see, this is what you